Welcome back to the Family Business Show with John Broons, and my guest today is Jad Reuben.
I just want to thank our sponsors for today, and today's sponsor is Tech, the Executive Connection. Have made a very big difference, a huge difference in my business life, and I think that if you contact them on www.tech.com.au, you can connect with Tech, the organisation, and I think it would be in your interests. So thank you, Tech.
Jad, we were talking through the break about some of the things we're going to talk about, and I just want to ask you some of the challenges you faced in the last 20 years, some of the small ones, some of the bigger ones, maybe 3 or 4, or 2 or 3, if, you know, we'll see how we go.
I'll try and make it brief, but it won't be. So the biggest challenge I found in, there's so many challenges in the retail business. The number one challenge that I really probably never got on top of, but got better at, was managing people. You know, and it's probably the same in 99% of businesses, unless you just find this business that, you know,
has no people
and works perfectly by itself. But I doubt, you know, when you find that, let me know. But you know, managing people and getting that right, and getting the right people in the right positions, and excited about coming to work, and excited about the next sale, and or stocking the warehouse correctly, has been the biggest challenge. And it took years for us to get it right, although we probably never really got it right, but we certainly got better at it. And it's always, I guess it's always a case of just fine-tuning it, and you know, if someone leaves, you know, how can we find someone better? And it's a very emotional roller coaster as well with people, because you live through these people, you know, that your team members, your management, you become very invested in their story as well.
It's a family business.
It's a family business.
You start
exactly
learning about everything.
You know, sometimes it's hard to separate, you know, business and personal. But I learned to do that over the years, which is very important. So certainly people management was the biggest challenge, and you know, in any business, if you can't get that right, I wouldn't even go to step 2. But once you get your people management right, then we, you know, in the 2000s, we had an onslaught of a lot of competition in WA, and that certainly gave us a huge kick up the rear end and a run for our money. Before that, we had a lot of the market to ourselves, and it's quite easy when you have a monopoly and you market to yourself, you sort of do what you want. And then even if you make mistakes, you just sort of throw money at it and it goes away. But all of a sudden, we were given a really good run for our money, and we had to work out how to, you know, be competitive and be, you know, viable with the competition. So the second thing we did was we moved all of our buying from pretty much local buying, mainly local importers, to being self-sufficient, so buying directly out of, you know, mainly China, but we moved to South Korea, United States, India, Pakistan, a little bit from Thailand.
So there was an upskilling that you had to do within the business.
Yeah.
Who took that role on?
We did.
You, the family group.
Yeah. My dad was a great driver of that as well.
Okay.
And he really saw the vision, and so and he's a great networker. So he went and made a lot of those contacts. And some we got terribly wrong, but eventually we got it right, and we became, you know, I'd say in the end, 90% self-sufficient. So we became an importing company, and it changes everything. So it changes, you know, well, the most important thing it changes your cash flow. Yeah. And so there's our next big challenge was how are we going to fund this new style of business from, you know, going from 30, 60, 90-day accounts. So to receiving your goods, not paying for them, then selling them retail, getting the money for it, and then paying for the goods at some point in the future, to, you know, paying a 50% deposit to get production happening, then production takes 4 weeks, and then getting the goods shipped another 4 weeks, and paying for the balance before they ship. So virtually paying for 100% of your goods 4 weeks before you even receive them, and then you receive the goods, and then, you know, you work out all the problems, and you know. So by the time
you were the finance magician, so
yeah,
you made it
but
work.
I couldn't even solve that problem. So that was so I think the cash flow was the biggest challenge in
changing the dynamic of the business.
In that strategy. But the magic is you need the margin. So the margin was the key there, and there was a huge difference in margin, and so we became, and then it was just a bit of time, and so that started to filter through. Then we started getting my dad back out there with some different marketing and getting him on the TV. There was a lot of noise, out in the public, and so you have to try and do things a little bit differently to get ahead of the noise, and he managed to do that. So we had the product right, we had the people, we had the marketing, and so then 06, 07, 08, we had some fantastic years, really good. The business was just sort of creaming it.
So the challenges that you've overcome already, that you say you never quite overcame, but I believe you've done magnificently well with.
We got better at
HR.
We got better at it. Definitely.
HR. The product.
The product.
Okay. The change of buying a product. Is there a third? Big challenge.
Working with family, of course, is always a challenge. As I said before, we all want the same result, but we all just have very different passionate views on how we get there.
So you had the rule of no talk about business at the dinner table that happened before you left home.
Yeah,
right?
I can't remember the exact time.
Okay, so were there other rules that came into play subsequently where, to deal with this family side of things?
Not really. But we learnt to be a lot more tolerant of each other at work, and otherwise you waste a lot of energy, or found we wasted a lot of energy on just arguing about points that were irrelevant, or when you don't want to understand someone else's point of view. So that was just, I think that was just more natural than an actual, we sit down and say, okay, we just need to behave like adults now, because we all want the same result, but we just,
Did Dad ever sit down at the table and say that?
No, I don't think we ever had, an official conversation about it, but we definitely got better at working together.
Great.
From the good old days.
From the good old days. We're talking a window of 20 years.
Yeah,
it's not a huge window, but there's a lot that's changed in 20 years.
Yeah. And I think also, we at the beginning, I try to, as you just try to do everything and be a master of nothing and just try to, and then I realised that wasn't good for my mental health or anyone's mental health. So we really started to delegate, and so Dad was really in charge of the buying and the marketing. Mum was in charge of a lot of the computer systems and the day-to-day operations, and I guess I was in charge of the people by default. The people and the processes and the overall and the numbers.
The finance.
Yeah, yep. And that, again, that just probably happened quite naturally, because those were the parts of the business that we had a natural tendency to go towards.
Did you have other conversations with other people about how they did it along the way? Because things just happening by osmosis is a really easy way, but it doesn't happen by osmosis, okay? It doesn't happen that smoothly. There's always conversations, and you don't have them just within your family.
Yeah, so I've got a lot of heroes and mentors, and they certainly allowed me to grow along the way and understand myself better and understand my decision making better. We did a family business succession plan as well, a group succession plan that took 2 years with an independent advisor. Yep. That was an interesting experience, and I would definitely advise all family businesses starting out or established to go through that process, and involve all family members, even family members working outside the business. It was great. It was like having a therapy session as well as
partners. So the in-laws as well.
This was probably before that time, but
before that time, meaning before you were married.
Yeah, before I was married.
Okay.
But yes, you get everyone involved, so everyone was on the same. So that was good. That was good. But I've got a lot of external help. So I've got great people in real estate that advise me. I've got great people in law that advise me. I've got great people, in business that advise me. And I go to these people for those genres. I don't go to my real estate guy to ask him how to run a business, but we'll talk about property.
Good.
So I do have, these really key people, and one thing about choosing people to be around you that I've learnt over the years, and again, this is more recently, was to always look at the values first with someone rather than experience or intellect. If you find someone with great values, it's likely that their behaviour in the future is going to be good behaviour. If you find someone with bad values, you're probably going to be unhappy in the future.
Instead of good, bad, would you rather use the words aligned values to your values?
Yep.
And
I'd rather good values. If you had bad values, you probably want to be around with someone with good values. So strong values. Honesty, integrity. Someone who's not, someone who's going to give you feedback that he thinks you need, he or she thinks you need.
So there's honesty as well as trust.
Yes.
Perfect.
Of course, all of it. You don't want someone that's in for it themselves, and some underlying ulterior motive that you're not going to find out until the disaster. So that's really important when choosing advisors. For myself, is that really strong values.
Was there a trick that you had in there somewhere along the way that you used to be able to find these advisors? Or was it just a referral, or it was just once you met the person, there was a handshake and you knew?
No, it's like a courting process. You never know on the first date.
Okay.
So and it takes me time. So it's not the first meeting handshake. We're away. It's it can take years to build trust with someone, because you don't want to get that wrong. You don't want to get that wrong. You don't. And the best way of learning, and so I learnt it the hard way, and you get stung a few times, and you never want to make that mistake again. So I spend a lot of time evaluating, people, and the people around me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that, for those insights.
No problem.
This is the Family Business Show. This is John Broons, and my guest today is Jad Reuben. We'll take a break and we'll come back shortly with the conclusion of the show. Thanks.
I just want to thank our sponsors for today, and today's sponsor is Tech, the Executive Connection. Have made a very big difference, a huge difference in my business life, and I think that if you contact them on www.tech.com.au, you can connect with Tech, the organisation, and I think it would be in your interests. So thank you.